I think the church at large is in a place where it knows that it needs to change. And that, I think, is something that the Holy Spirit is doing. So I think if we're conscious of a need to change, then we will find ways to discover how that unfolds. I think that we're not going to be able to discover by ourselves how to move into the fullness of that which God has got for us. It has to be led by Christ. And I think that people default to what they're capable of doing. So they'll, for example, in church, that the system tries to create a business model very often, and computes success and failure in the same way that a business might. And it might look for a CEO, which we call the senior pastor. We might look for a executive board, which is the elders, and we kind of implant our secular model into church. I think it involves dismantling a lot of that, and I'm very careful about using that word because it's been used the wrong way, and I don't mean it the way some people express it, but it does nonetheless mean taking apart the parts of our systems and structures that are secular and not that which is inspired by heaven. I think there's an authenticity in getting to grips with that which is heavenly. Now, I think people are under an awful lot of pressure, so if you're in a situation where you're in as far as the outside world is concerned, a successful church, in other words, a church where lots of people come in and they give their tithes and they expect something back for that. The challenge comes there is, do we have the guts to actually say, well, actually, this isn't really biblical, and I want to stand in faith? We've got to start exercising those faith muscles in those kind of situations. We've actually got to be brave enough to let go of the control, and with that, when we let go of control, we're often letting go of all the peripheries which other people thrive upon, and so we become unpopular. So what I'm suggesting in that is that a walk of faith involves independence from control, independence from a system that has dictated how we are supposed to do what we are doing. It has to be inspired by the Holy Spirit. There can be no other way. But I think people know in their guts when the Holy Spirit is leading them in a certain direction. But I think a lot of the church has been just too scared to take that bull by the horns and say, right, I'm going to be faithful to God above and beyond everything else. I think that's where the answer can be found. I think just faith. It's the simplest thing in the world, but it's faith. Do we really believe that Jehovah is Jehovah Jireh? Do we really believe that he can provide for us? Do we really believe that he can orchestrate our lives for the betterment not only of ourselves but the world around us? Well, if we do, then we've actually got to respond to those moments when the Holy Spirit is prompting us.